Alright, sorry about that. Oh, red bud. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not feeling 100% today, so if the video gets cut short, that's me running and throwing up in the toilet. I've eaten some off food, and yeah, moving along. But yeah, obviously let's jump into it. Let's try and get this done as fast as I can so I can spend the rest of the time vomiting in my shower. Let's just jump straight into it. The internet is radicalizing white men. Big tech could be doing more. Yes, that's right. Our friendly people over at CNN have decided to advocate for censorship. Because why not? So, yeah, apparently this is a thing. So, yeah, the internet is radicalizing white men. Big tech could be doing more. Mosques on Friday is a bit of irony. Sorry, among the many tragedies of the massacre of the 2 New Zealand mosques on Friday is a bit of irony. The terrorist who killed 50 people, at least 50 people, in an Islamophobic attack resembled in many ways a member of ISIS. If his life had gone different in some way, he might have well ended up one and killing people somewhere else in its name. The type of extremism and hatred that causes different, but they have at least one thing in common. The internet is a tool of radicalization. Your fake news. He actually says in the dossier that the reason why he did this, or how he was actually radicalized, he actually fully admits it was going over to Europe and seeing a lot of these migrants committing crimes. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, if you want proof of this, for example, the one names that are tattooed or written on the side of the barrel of the gun, all that sort of stuff was all relation to terrorist survivors or terrorist victims over in Manchester, Paris, stuff like that. This is something that we've already covered in the past, but obviously at the end of the day, CNN doesn't care about facts because they're the name to be trusted, supposedly. Remember the Apple ad? But anyway. But there's still much we don't know about the suspect and his background. No, we know a lot because of the 72, 73, whatever page manifesto. But before anything at all was known about him, anyone who has studied or covered extremism of these kinds of attacks could have given you an educated guess about what kind of person he was. Male, probably in his 20s, decent chance of at least a minor criminal record, more likely a history of hatred towards a violence against women. Oh, and one more thing, he probably spent a fair amount of time on the internet. Sure. People could easily become radicalized before social media. Many are still radicalized without it. Right, so your whole advocate or your whole article is basically debunked here by this stage, isn't it? But social media, often in combination with other factors, has proven itself an efficient radicalizer, in part because it allows the easy formation of communities, in part because of its algorithms used to convince people to stay just a little longer, which one more video, click one more thing, general little more advertising revenue. Now, it's funny, I would actually somewhat agree with CNN on this. But at the end of the day, I think they got it wrong. It's not the algorithm that's causing people to stay a little longer. I think at the end of the day, it's people going through and actually being put into echo chambers. So, for example, this guy in the alt-right, for example, or eco-fascist, whatever you want to call him, this lunatic. At the end of the day, my guess is he hung around echo chambers a lot. Now, it's funny because the kings of censorship, CNN, want to go through and to create echo chambers. So they're actually advocating for something that most likely caused this situation to happen in the first place. And censorship itself is just going to cause more of this to happen. You go sticking people in ghettos and stuff like that, you are going to end up putting them in groups of like-minded individuals who just feed off each other. You're going to have nobody that will sit there and will go through and will rebut anything that they've said. And at the end of the day, these echo chambers are probably the biggest thing that led for this guy to be radicalized. That and all the violent crimes and everything that he's seen in Europe. So literally them blaming the algorithm is partly correct, but it's more the fact that it's actually to do with the fact that these echo chambers and that are caused by these algorithms because of the online censorship that is happening, which is ironic because that's what they're actually advocating for here. They've literally got the internet is radicalizing white men. Really? Because you've literally gone through and compared them to ISIS. Are ISIS white men? Why is it only white men in the title? Big tech could be doing more. Doing more what? Censorship? Is that what you're asking for? CNN? But anyway, let's keep going. We've got a major media following that Monsters Manifesto. Yeah, that's the thing too, Amy. At the end of the day, welcome back, by the way. I haven't seen you around for a while. The other day I saw you pop in too. The thing is that he's literally gone through and said, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm advocating for. This is what I want to do. This is what will happen. And the media is following it to a T. They've taken the guy's playbook and are running with it, quite literally. So you think that they would have gone through and done something different, but I guess my narrative doesn't work in that case, does it? No, he wasn't a conservative. He actually hated conservatism. He called it capitalism in a mask or something like that. He calls it. He was a eco-fascist. He was a fascist. He was an authoritarian type. Yeah. He wanted free speech gone in the USA because that way he could go through and accelerate the war. He's an accelerationist. Accelerist. What do you want to call it? But anyway. The recommendation that YouTube provides, for instance, have been shown to push users towards extremist content. Really? Haven't seen any of it on the platform, have you? Someone who comes to the site to watch a video about something in the news could quickly find themselves seeing a conspiracy theory clip instead of, for instance. What? Conspiracy theories are now radicalizing white men? Which is ironic because CNN has literally been pushing one of the biggest conspiracy theories in decades with this whole Russia narrative. But regardless. In January, YouTube said it was taking steps to remedy this. Oh, great, more. A few years ago, someone looking for information about Islam could soon find themselves listening to a radical preacher. Combine those algorithms with men who are disaffected, many who may feel that the world owes them more, really, and that have a recipe for creating extremism of any stripe. Sure. Or maybe it's just people that are upset that their countries have been swamped by foreign invaders. Maybe it's just people that are swamped or upset about the fact that they didn't get a vote on whether they wanted this multiculturalism. Or maybe it's just the fact that people just don't want a whole bunch of Syrian refugees, African migrants, whatever it may be, whatever the immigrant may be for that country. Maybe they just don't want them to see that, or they don't want to have that in their country. Maybe it's someone not thinking the world owes them, but thinking this is our country, and at the end of the day, we don't want to have to share it with everybody because they have their own country and we have our own, and we want to keep our own, so to speak. I don't know. Radical idea, I suppose, but anyway. They're picking up an ideology that helps them justify their rage, their disappointment, and it's sometimes something available. Jessica Stern, a research professor at Boston University Purdue School of Global Studies and the co-author of ISIS, The State of Terror, told CNN Business Friday that even Muslims, they were converting to Islam. The ISIS ideology was an attractive way for some of these men to express their rage and disappointment. This is another ideology that is becoming very popular and another fad. For all the largely much-deserved criticism they've got recently over the things they've failed to act upon, social networks did step up and take a real and impressive action when facing with the deluge of ISIS supporters and content. Big tech companies could be taking similar action against white supremacists now. The issue on mainstream sites is that the most popular, there has been aggressive takedown of ISIS-related content. The Samuel Hughes, the deputy director of the program of extremists at George Washington University, said, "The same dynamic hasn't happened when it comes to white supremacy." What is a white supremacist? Just announced, Devon Nunes is filing against Twitter for shadow banning censorship and intimidation of conservatives for its $250 million. Holy shit. Yeah, Amy, yeah, we are actually going to be talking about that. That's literally the next story. Yeah, happened about 12 hours ago, actually. Funny enough, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about that. It's, yeah, it's weird that they don't want to cover that terrorist aspect. Well, I don't know, I call a guy walking into a tram and shooting people a bunch of terrorists, but it's funny how they don't want to talk about that one, isn't it? Perhaps the most disheartening aspect of the companies have been told over and over again that they have a problem. Ben Collins, the reporter with NBC News, tweeted Friday, "Extremist research and journalists, including me," that guy calling himself a journalist, it's dishonest, "warned the company in emails on the phone and employees faced after the last terror attack that the next one would show signs of YouTube radicalization again." But it hasn't. That's the thing. But the outcome would be worse. I was literally scoffed at. He wasn't radicalized on the internet. What he was he was radicalized when he went over to all these immigrants or these countries over in Europe and started witnessing a whole bunch of people who had moved into these locations, that were forming ghettos, whatever it may be. Christians have been murdered by extremists in Nigeria. Yeah, we covered it yesterday, actually. I heard it's up to 130. No, that's all good. Welcome, by the way. But yeah, this guy was radicalized by seeing a whole bunch of multiculturalism come into his country over in Europe. He traveled over to Pakistan and all these sort of places. You're going to tell me that didn't radicalize him more than the frigging internet? When he spends how long traveling around Europe? Seeing all the migrant crisis? You don't think that radicalized him more than CNN, than the internet? Like, Jesus. God, they're idiots. God, they're fake news. But anyway. We know that people can be easily addressed through counseling and mentorship, he said. If instead of directing people who might be flirting with extremists as a support, if you censor them and remove them from the platforms, you lose the ability to provide them with an off-ramp. That's what I've been saying. Don't censorship people. While noting that platforms should still take down content that explicitly calls for violence, which a lot of the content doesn't, by the way, which also violates their terms of service, Bro said, there's some content that doesn't violate the terms of service, so the question is, can you make sure the information is contextualized with videos before and after it on the feed? What? Your video, CNN? Is that what you want? Are you... Thanks Amy. Yeah, tell me about it. But look, yeah, what they want now is they want videos before and after the video that you watch to tell you a counter narrative. Now, of course, I presume CNN and whatnot are going to put their hand up to say, oh, you should run our videos first because, you know, and that's what it's all about. Look, at the end of the day, if anybody thinks that CNN really cares about extremist content or anything like that, no, you're not. He doesn't. They don't. What they care about is clicks. They care about views. CNN is literally being forced down people's throats. They've gone through, they've had the algorithm to censor people like me in favor of the mainstream media and all these sort of companies. And even after all that, even they censor us, they suppress us, they delete our videos, they privatize our videos. After everything they've done, we are still managing to grow every day. This channel is still growing every day. It's just a lot slower than it should be. And like Mark Dice, for example, millions of views a week on his YouTube channel. Here's a guy that literally stands in his kitchen on a green screen, on a laptop, and makes fun of the news. And that's the thing. That's what bugs them the most. Is at the end of the day, it is all about that. It's all about them not being able to get onto the top. Not being able to beat alternative media. It is all about us in alternative media or independent media or whoever it may be. Like even like people like, for example, the Young Turks, which I loathe and think a bunch of race baiting, for example. But even like people like the Young Turks are still doing well considering all the censorship that is happening right now. And they're going to be affected just as much as the rest of us. Phil DeFranco, Young Turks, Luke Wadowski from We Are Change, me, Mark Dice, Paul Joseph Watson, InfoWars. Well, they're no longer on the platform because they got banned because of CNN, mind you. But all these sort of places were all censored. And that's what it's all about. CNN wanting the algorithm to change yet again. Because at the end of the day, they aren't on top. If you just type in Google, just type in New Zealand attack or something like that. And page after page is all about mainstream media telling you the narrative. There's very little independent creators, if any, show up at all. And it's all about the mainstream media getting their clicks in. And that's what they want. That's what they want. They want to go through and change the algorithm so that at the end of the day, they suppress us some more so that they can get views. Because nobody wants to watch them. Who wants to watch CNN? You got a channel. You got a TV if you want to watch CNN. You go to YouTube because you want an independent media or an independent source or your favorite creator, whatever it may be. You want to go through and you want to watch them. And that's why people go to YouTube. They don't go to YouTube to watch CNN or MSNBC. Not unless they want to laugh at them, like Mark Dice. But anyway. A comprehensive solution he sees is a change to the algorithm. that they could point people to different views or even some cases support, such as counseling. Algorithms can either foster groupthink and enforcement, or they can drive discussion, he said. Right now, the tailored content tends to be. I think you're going to be like more of the same, and unfortunately that's an ideology scenario that's just violent extremism, but polarization, sorry. We're only sharing subsets of information and removing the middle ground, a place where we can come together to discuss different ideas. A massive part of the violent extremism is polarization, and that is really dangerous. But yeah, that's CNN's take on it. And at the end of the day, CNN, you're fake news. Look, like I say, this is all about them going through and getting clicks. This is all about them going through, getting views and onto their YouTube channel. And they can't do it organically because nobody trusts them anymore. So what they have to do is go through and censor everybody else so that they can get on top. And that's what this is all about. This is all about them being on top. They don't care about radicalization. They don't care about extremism. They just care about views. It's all they care about. I've seen a recent murderer, who had pics on Instagram, Facebook posting with illegal guns. He actually used to murder someone and had not been removed. So beyond hypocrisy, that is one example. Yeah. And this New Zealand shooter, for example, over in Christchurch, had a Facebook account. Wasn't banned from Facebook. I'm not advocating for censorship, but you know, at the end of the day, if you want to go through and talk about people being banned on Facebook or changing algorithms, why are you only talking about YouTube? Why aren't they talking about Facebook? Because at the end of the day, it's all about their views on their videos. And that's what it's all about. But anyway. So there was something else I was... here it is, yeah. Alright, so Utrecht tram shooting suspect arrested after 3 killed. So we do have a bit of news on this. Let's go through and talk about this. 5 injured in Dutch city during incident is believed to have been a family dispute. Really? Police have arrested a man suspected of shooting 3 people dead and injuring 5 more on a tram in Dutch city of Utrecht. Apparently, I might be mispronouncing. Apparently in a family dispute. That's interesting. Because when you go here, Turkish intelligence agency is saying it's investigating whether the attack was personally motivated or an act of terrorism. So why is it that the Guardian is trying to push a family narrative when it's not quite sure? Because, according to this, it's not quite sure. And that was updated 27 minutes ago. This, yesterday. Yesterday. So, or today, sorry, yeah. So, you know, family motive? Yeah, I don't know. I call a guy who walks into a tram, shoots 3 people and injures 5. I would call him probably a terrorist. But the question is, why are we not hearing about this? Why is it that at the end of the day, we only keep hearing about the Turkish man may not be charged with hate crimes? Oh, wow. Isn't that weird, hey? Funny that, isn't it, Amy? But yeah, why are they going on about New Zealand with massacre and, terrorism? But this guy, it's just a family incident. Just happened to shoot some other people that got involved as well. It's not a big deal, right? It's not a big problem. But anyway. Transport violence, yeah. But anyway, let's keep going. Turkish-born, don't want to say his name, 37, was detained on the street in the north of the city several hours after the shooting, which happened at 10:45 local time. On the 24 Osborne Junction, authorities initially said it could have been a terror attack, which is interesting because we've had ISIS come out and say that we're literally going to be replications. They're saying that there's going to be revenge attacks regarding this Winchester Church Christ thing. So, couple of days after that, we get this. Is anybody else thinking this might be linked? Utrecht, the Netherlands' 4th largest city, spent most of the day in lockdown, and authorities have asked residents to stay at home. Students were prevented from leaving schools and colleges, and many shops in the area are closed. A spokesman for the Dutch Public Prosecutor's Office said investigators were still taking into account the possibility of a terror motive, but other possibility reasons were not being ruled out. So they're still taking a terror motive, but believed to be in family dispute. It's a family dispute, mind you. Authorities haven't ruled out terrorism, but don't worry, it's a family dispute. Does that sound right to anybody? A police spokesman, Bram Jens, had earlier said the attack could have been a domestic dispute. Turkish state-run Anadolu news agency, citing relatives of the suspect's family, said Trent, I don't want to say his name, had fired at a woman for family reasons and then shot at others who tried to help. So, citing relatives of the suspect's family. So, the family is saying he shot at someone on the train that was family and then started shooting people that tried to help. Look, I'm not saying it isn't true. I'm just saying it seems to be that at the end of the day, they might be wanting to push a little bit of a narrative here. But, you know, don't worry. It's not a terrorist attack still, right? Well, no, I'd say this is still a terrorist attack, but regardless. The National Terrorism Coordinator, Peter Jessup Asberg, raised the alert level in Utrecht province to its maximum. They're raising the terror alert. But don't worry, it's family related. We're just raising the terror alert because we can, right? Security was also increased in the nearby cities of Amsterdam, Rotterdam and Hague, as well as Chute Airport. Utrecht police issued CCTV picture of the person, wanting people not to approach him, but to alert authorities if they saw him. They also appealed for witness photographs. Looks like a native person to the country, doesn't it? Unlike France, Belgium and Germany, Netherlands has not had a major terrorist attack in recent years. The Dutch Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, said the country had been rocked by what happened. A local broadcaster, RTV Utrecht, quoted a witness, Jimmy de Costa, as saying several shots had been fired. De Costa said he had been on his way home from work when saw a woman laying on the ground next to a tram, shouting, "I have done nothing." Another witness, identified only as Nigels, who was on the tram, told the newspaper the government had seemed to target one person. "I heard like bang, bang, bang in the carriage behind me, and suddenly people were running out for their lives," the witness said. "I had the impression he was firing at one person in particular because I saw a woman crawling out. Other people tried to help her. When they did that, he went round behind her and began firing at them." The third witness told the national broadcaster NOS he did not believe that it was a terrorist attack. "The first thing I thought was this is some kind of revenge or something, or someone who's really mad and grabbed a pistol." Okay. If someone's just randomly shooting people in the street, it's still a terrorist attack, dude. Several Dutch media outlets reported that the transits had appeared in court as well as Utrecht a month for charged with rape. Starting to get an idea of where you might have shot someone in particular. RTV Utrecht said the suspect was well known for police for a string of further offences, including threatening to murder a woman and firing a weapon at a block of flats close to the Auckland. Multiculturalism is great, okay? It's not a bad thing, alright? This is just part and parcel of living in a big city, right? By early evening, Utrecht's large Holland Casino was one of several places to still be closed because of the crisis situation. I call it a terrorist attack, but anyway. The large plaza outside was deserted apart from the steady stream of cyclists and cars. One woman who declined to give her name described the attack as unreal. I live there in the neighbourhood, she says. I moved there 3 weeks ago. It feels unreal. You can't really imagine it. So, almost at the end. Tim Copps, a 20-year-old radiologist who takes the same tram every day, said the events were disturbing. It's pretty unusual, but most shootings happen in Amsterdam, but it would not change his behaviour. He said, it makes me worried, but I know it won't happen again. Well, I don't know, man. Living in a big city, part and parcel. The wounded were taken to Dutchman's main teaching hospital, where a major incident was declared. Dutch media reported that at least 3 people had received emergency treatment at the scene. There were initial reports of shootings in other areas of the city, but these were subsequently discounted by police. Police said that the red Renault Clino, I might be mispronouncing, was stolen near the Auburn shortly beforehand and was later found abandoned further to the north. So look, I don't know. I don't know what happened here. Obviously, anybody that gets a gun and just starts shooting people, to me, is terrorist. You know, it doesn't have to be politically motivated. Although this, to me, look, it's 50-50, okay? Chances are, look, yeah, there is a possibility he was shooting this woman because chances are she's probably the one that tried to claim he raped her or put him in for rape, which I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying allegedly, although he was charged, right? So we can't say he was. So, yeah, it's most likely at the end of the day, look, yeah, this is probably the rape victim. And he probably decided to get a gun and to shoot her because she, quote, ruined his life because she was a rape victim of him. The victim blaming in some certain cultures is really impressive. It really is. But like I say, look, at the end of the day, yeah, there is a chance that that happened. There's also a chance it's terrorist. I don't know. I do find it a little weird that this is happening a couple of days after Christchurch. We don't know all the facts. We're still waiting to find out exactly what happened. Either way, this is not good for immigration. You have an immigrant who is, A, at the best of cases, raped a woman and then shot another girl, plus a string of other offences, or B, it's a terrorist attack. Like a politically motivated terrorist attack. Either way, it's not necessarily good for Netherlands, and it's not good for the whole multiculturalism is great, it's our strength argument that you keep hearing. Because, yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's a little weird. But the thing is, and this is the weird thing, right, is that he's only the first person that's been shot. So, where is it? Dutch police arrest Turkish man suspected of killing 3 in tram shooting, but they've also gone through and arrested 2 others. So there's actually been 3 people that have been arrested regarding this. So, you know, like, is it terrorist or is it revenge? I really don't know. But, yeah. Transport violence. Hey, PSI. How are you, buddy? Train rage, another name. Yeah. I like transport violence. Will Kiwis try to build a wall to keep the Aussies out? No, but we're going to build a wall to keep the Kiwis out of here. Because, trust me, there's a lot more Kiwis over here than there is over there. Or Australians over there. But, yeah. But like I say, look, it's a little weird that 3 people have been arrested. They're claiming it could be terrorism. Could be because of family, whatever. I don't know. I think I'd be very suspicious about this, but we'll have to wait to see. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, Christians living in a Muslim country are 143 more times more likely to be killed by a Muslim than vice versa. Which is funny because you don't tend to hear about this much, do you? Friday's carnage in 2 mosques in New Zealand with the death toll currently at 50, the first major event of its kind since Quebec City mosque shooting over 2 years ago, which killed 6 people, conservative writer Shara Terrific states in Chronicle magazine. Nevertheless, the terrible incident will dominate the headlines infinitely more than any comparable carnage involving Christians, notably by the 2017 Palm Sunday church bombings in Alexandria, which killed 45 people, but was all but ignored by the Western media and politicians. If we put Friday's killing in perspective, the perspective should be including the fact that some 30 million Muslims reside in the West world today, which makes the probability of any of them falling victim to the deplorable attack any given year roughly 1 in 10 million. Roughly 1 in 10 million. 261 persons have been killed and many more injured in attacks by non-Muslims in less than 4 years in only one country, France, population of 60 million. With 66 dead on average, Frenchmen are exactly 10 times more likely to be murdered by Muslims than Muslims by killing non-Muslim terrorists anywhere in the world. So, yeah. The score is incomparably worse if we look at the situation of Christians in the Muslim world. It's most egregious example of human rights violations in today's world. According to Open Doors, at least 4,305 Christians known by name were murdered by Muslims because of their faith in 2018. Aid to the Church in Need is the latest religious freedom report, warned that 300 million Christians, overly in majority Muslim countries, were subject to violence, making it the most persecuted religion in the world. This makes the odds of Christian in major Muslim countries being murdered by Muslims simply for what it is, approximately 1 in 70,000. Which means that Christians living in major Muslim country is 143 more times more likely to be killed by Muslims for being Christian than Muslims are likely to be killed by non-Muslims in Western country for what it is. So at the end of the day, you are far more likely to be killed because you're a Christian living in a Muslim country than you are a Muslim living in a non-Muslim country. So, yeah. And look, obviously, like we were talking about yesterday, we've just found out, or we just heard yesterday, that 130 Christians have been killed in Nigeria just recently, over the 3-week period. Western media is completely blank. Nothing. Not even mentioning it. I only heard about it, I think, because maybe someone in chat, I don't want to say names, but someone in chat brought it up. And I think that was the only reason I actually heard about it. So, yeah. Obviously, students have performed a haka to pay tribute to classmates killed in Christchurch video. Students from various schools pay tribute to their peers who died in the Christchurch shooting by performing a haka, a ceremonial Maori dance that has mourned the victims of honour to the death, honour the dead. They were joined by scores of fellow students from a former defeating chorus. At least 50 people were killed in the attack. That was the worst mass shooting in New Zealand's history. So, yeah. That obviously happened. Prime Minister Scott Morrison is set to slash Australian immigration intake by 30,000 people a year. A goodie. Yay. So instead of having, 190,000 people, we only get, 160,000. Great. So immigration cap of 160,000 people per year is expected to be introduced. Mr. Morrison said there was a tribalism disorder and discussion of immigration. Prime Minister said debate about immigration numbers wasn't relative to their value. We're living in an upside down world. All those Christian murdered, and none of the people out of the mainstream media. Yeah, well, don't you know the Christians have been murdered, Greg? They're just the wrong group. They're just the wrong ethnicity or the wrong religion to care about. And yeah, they just don't want to talk about the Christians being murdered because, you know, I mean, narrative. But anyway. The government's Expenditure Review Committee has approved the coalition's border population policies, the Australian reported. Why do we have to go through and get an Expenditure Review Committee? Why can't we just lower it? And why does it have to be lowered to 160? Why can't we drop it to 70 or 50 or something like that? Why does it have to be 160,000? But anyway. Mr. Morrison said there was a tribalism disorder of discussion such as immigration. In other words, we're coming up to an election, and we need votes, and he's worried he's going to lose. But anyway, Mr. Morrison said he did not agree with people calling for less immigration because of fears about immigrants causing terrorist attacks. The worst example of being despicable appropriation of concerns about immigration as justified for the terrorist atrocity, he told Sydney Morning Herald. However, he said calling for limits on immigration levels did not make someone a racist. Such views have highly been denounced, but equally, so too must the imputation of motivation for supporting moderate immigration levels. Is racist hatred, he said. Mr. Morrison said the debate about the numbers of migrants moving to Australia each year was not related to the value of immigration to the country. Just because Australians are frustrated about traffic jams and population pressures encroaching on their quality of life, especially in this country, in this city, does not mean they are anti-immigrant or racist, he said. A regional settlement policy which require people in the general skilled migrant scheme to live in cities other than Sydney and Melbourne for at least 5 years has also been approved by Cabinet. So we're just going to move the terrorists around so they don't form ghettos. Not as fast anyway. So here's some facts. Residents in Australia, mostly overcrowded cities, are sceptic of high immigration in 8 and 10, opposed to faster rate of population growth. A news poll for more than 1,000 voters in Sydney and regional New South Wales found that 25% of respondents wanted Australian immigration place to be slashed. Another 55% wanted immigration to stay where it is, meaning 80% of the population surveyed in Australia's most populous states didn't want the pace of population growth to accelerate beyond a recent record high. Just 16% of those participating in the Newspoll survey published in The Australian favoured a high immigration rate. In 2018, a record 832,560 permanent and long-time immigrants decided to call Australia home. Whew, that's a lot. Making a 7.1% increase compared with the 2017 official statistics released in February showed. With the number of people leaving Australia for good taken into account, the National's annual net immigration rate stood at 291,250, the highest in 4.5 years. Thank God we have a conservative government. The vast bulk of new arrivals set it in already overcrowded Sydney and Melbourne. Yeah. Ask Lawrence Southern how Lakemba's going. Sorry, I have to leave. No worries, Greg. Thank you very much. Thanks for calling in, man. The show is a little bit late today, so I'm going to try and do it earlier, guys. I was waiting to see if Satellite jumped on, but he's not around, and I might just do the show in future if he's not here instead of waiting. Just because of the fact that a lot of people sort of get busy at this time and it's hard to tune in and stuff like that. So, yeah. But yeah, anyway. Donna Brazile hired as a Fox News contributor. Oh, sorry, on this. As regarding this, look, I think the numbers are way too high for immigration. At the end of the day, I would like to see the immigration slashed by around 100,000. I would like to see that 160 drop down to around 70. And I would much rather people come from countries that are better for us. I would like to focus on people that are culturally similar to us instead of people that have vastly different cultures who want to carry out terrorist attacks. So yeah, but anyway. We live in an upside down world. All the True Greg, so sad. I just saw the bodies last night. Oh yeah. Mass grave. Yeah, I wasn't going to show that. Although I do have an argument. An article. So maybe it's in that. I'm not quite sure. Maybe some of the Christians' mass graves are revenged too. Massacres. Sorry. No, the massacre in Christians have been going on, Amy, for about 3 weeks. So that happened before the New Zealand attack. Yeah. But they'll never say. Sorry, I have to leave. Like I said, see you, Greg. Europe is a mess. Literally, Paris is a nightmare. I wouldn't even get into Sweden at all. No-go zones and Muslim protests. Wow, is it really? I never even hear about the Muslim protests in Sweden. Thumbs up, like and subscribe. Done and done. Yep. Thanks for suggesting that, by the way, Gregman. I cried when I saw Paul L. Joseph Watson's video on Paris and someone else's video on immigrants demanding money, bigger houses, etc., etc. Now Swedes must work an additional 10 years. Yep. 10 years to pay for it all. Yep. Local residents got to pay for it. Got to give them that money. Give them those monies. And that's what it's all about. It's all about money. So, yeah, as for Australia, I'd like to see the immigration slashed. I'd like to see it slashed down to 60,000. And people from more likely or more culturally... how do you say it? More culturally similar to us is what I'd like to say. There's no assimilation, and now call to prayer is heard nightly in Paris and Sweden. Yep. Yeah, tell me about it. It's charming, isn't it? Buying an island is seemingly like a better idea by the day. What do you reckon? Buy an island? Have a huge, tight immigration policy. Just invite people that we want. Maybe make it like a conservative, like a libertarian sort of aspect. Maybe you follow a certain religion, you're not allowed. I don't know. Donna Brazile hired as Fox News contributor. Interesting. So Donna Brazile, a former acting head chair of the Democratic National Committee, has joined Fox News Channel as the contributor, the network announced Monday. Wasn't she the one that went through and supposedly led or leaked the questions to Hillary Clinton? Brazile, a long-time Democrat operative, will provide political commentary on the Fox News Channel and Fox Business Network and makes her debut appearance on the Daily Briefing with Donna this week. I'm delighted to be joining Fox News. I know I'm going to be criticised by my friends in the progressive movement for being on Fox News. My response is that I've learned anything from the 2016 election. We can't have a country where we don't talk to those who disagree with our political views, Brazile said in a statement. There is an audience on Fox News that doesn't hear enough from Democrats. We have to engage our audience and show Americans every stripe of what we stand for, rather than retreat into our safe spaces where we simply agree with each other, for there is no safety in self-limiting numbers. This to me seems like she's wants to go there because she wants to divert and split the base. She's doing this as a operative. This to me sounds like it's, I'm going to go and work at Fox News so I can confirm people or conform people over to being a Democrat. I need the voters. Seems like she's going there for an agenda. You can be damn sure I'll still go. Still be going. You can be damn sure I'm still going to be me on Fox News. In October 2016, Brazil was forced to resign from her role as CNN contributor amid reports she leaked the questions to then Democrat president candidate Hillary Clinton's campaign ahead of CNN debate and CNN town hall. CNN said in a statement that it was completely uncomfortable with what we have learned about her intentions with the Clinton campaign while she was still a CNN contributor. Despite the Democrat official's role at CNN, the network claimed it never gave Brazil access to any questions, prep material, attendee list, background information, or meetings in advance of the town hall or debate. We didn't give her anything, she just did it on her own. Brazil's officially resigned from CNN on October 14th, 3 days following a WikiLeaks email drop in which she appeared to have obtained some questions in advance of a town hall event and passed them along to the Clinton campaign. From time to time, I get the questions in advance, wrote Brazil. But CNN claimed they didn't give it to her. So how did she get the questions? Brazil vigorously denied leaking questions, contending that as long-time political activist, she conveyed her views with each and every campaign, and suggestion that and cited otherwise are simply untrue. I didn't leak the questions, even though there's email proof of me doing it. I didn't leak them. That email's not mine. I was hacked, right? Is that what the argument is? Another WikiLeaks reveals emails indicate that Brazil had given the question to Clinton camp, writing, "I'll send a few more." But I didn't leak them. Brazil ultimately admitted to leaking the questions in March 2017 essay from Time magazine. My job was to make all our Democrat candidates look good, and I worked closely with both campaigns to make that happen, she wrote. But sending those emails was a mistake I will forever regret. Now look, at the end of the day, I don't care about people going through and making mistakes and road redemptions and stuff like that. Okay? Look, she made a mistake. Good to you. I'm more concerned about the fact that she's going to Fox News with an agenda. And that's what it seems like to me. It seems like she's going there to try and infiltrate the group or the network so that she can destroy it from the inside out. And I don't know, maybe I'm being over dramatic. But at the end of the day, that's what it seems like to me. It seems like it's a case of infiltrate the network, and we'll see what happens. And we'll see how many people we can swing over. And I'll try and be a force for good with the Democratic Party. Now, I do find it also very interesting that this happens literally after Fox News has been told that they cannot go and host a debate. So it does make me wonder if Fox News is putting her on, knowing what she's planning on doing, so that they can maybe use that to get access to the debates, maybe. So I think there's a little bit of quid pro quo going here on both sides. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do find it very suspicious that she is going there to, from what it sounds like, be a disruptive force. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Donna Brazile been hired and Judge Jeannie been suspended by Fox will cause me and many others to leave Fox News and stick to the internet. And yeah, I would buy an island if I could. They're not that dear, actually, Amy. I'm just saying. And you mightn't have to worry about buying an island. You might have to worry about just moving to an island that someone else might buy. Let's just say that. Because if anything, if all shit goes pear-shaped, I'm planning on selling everything and buying an island. So you won't have to worry about buying an island. You might have to worry about just moving there. Got a boat? Donna's overt infiltration. Yeah, 7, totally agree. Amy, and Jeannie was Attorney General and a judge, unlike Donna Brazile, who's done what? A Democrat strategist and, yeah, leaking info. I can't believe it. Yeah, I'm not surprised by the leaking info. She's a Democrat. But this is the thing, you know, and look, obviously I don't want Fox to be an echo chamber. But I also don't like it when they literally write, we're going to infiltrate. She's literally claimed that. And Fox News is like, oh, she'll be okay, mate. Meanwhile, we're going to suspend our other contributor. Seems to me like the Fox News might be trying to play ball a little bit so that they can go through and get their own viewing or get their own cameras at the debates. That's what I reckon it is. The Dems will do anything, say anything to win at this point. So sad. Yeah, well, we've already seen that with the 2018 midterm elections. Get ready for a stampede of really old conservatives looking for news source. They can come here. I'll send them the link. What happened to honor, integrity, like a big Benghazi, like with while our wounded guys got to Germany after serving? Everyone, the Hillary state feds were right there to take their credentials. Yeah, Benghazi was a mess. It really, really was. There is no honor, integrity amongst the media or anything. Not against the mainstream media anyway. Like, the first article we're talking about was CNN. Literally trying to make an application for changing the algorithm for what I believe is just so they can get more views. But regardless. On this, obviously, Fox News has suspended Jenny Perino for 2 weeks. Obviously, this is in relation to what we're talking about here, so related to it. Fox News Channel has suspended Jenny Perino, I might be mispronouncing, weekly program Justice with Judge Jenny, in response to the Conservatives' remarks about Representative Alamar, Democrat, Minnesota, I believe, Missouri, I'm not sure, use of a jihad, according to a report. CNN reliable sources host Brian Stutter reported Sunday that Perino's show was suspended for 2 weeks, noting that while she may be in the penalty box, she has not been fired from the network. Fox News aired a repeat episode of its documentary series Scandalous on Saturday instead of Justice with Jenny. When asked why Perino would not appear on air, Fox News spokesman told Deadline it would not comment on internal scheduling matters. Perino was met with criticism after appearing to suggest on her program earlier March that Amar wears a jihad in defiance of the Constitution. Quote, think about this. She's not getting the anti-Israel settlement document from the Democratic Party, so it's not rooted in the party. Where is she getting it from? Perino said in her opening statement. Think about it. Amar wears a hijab with accordance with the Quran, 33:59, tells women to cover so they won't get molested. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative, I'm getting that wrong, of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetic to the United States Constitution. As for Ginny's comments, Pinero, okay, yeah, I know, I'm getting it wrong. I love you, Seven, I really, really do. You always correct me in chat. But like I say, yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't think what she said was wrong. She's asking a question. She's asking a question about why someone has anti-Israeli sentiments and is coming from a Muslim faith. This is something that is well known, that there is a huge conflict between these two religions. I don't think asking that question was a bad thing. I really, really don't. And this is interesting enough. It's not the first time that someone has gone after Fox News. They're trying to boycott Tucker Carlson's advertisers, or trying to get the advertisers to boycott Tucker Carlson. Now, at the end of the day, getting rid of him would be Fox News' biggest mistake, because he's really popular. I was literally watching a clip the other day on my TV while playing with a few guys in Discord, and just someone heard the voice and said, "Is that Tucker?" Like, he is a very well known, and getting rid of him would be a huge mistake. So I don't think Fox News will get rid of Tucker. But suspending, how do you pronounce it? Janae Pereira? See, is that right? Did I get it right? But yeah, suspending her is a mistake. And there is actually I stand with Janae actually going on. I've retweeted. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you can see the thing. You can retweet that if you like. But yeah, like I say, there is actually a retweetable hashtag that's going around with people wanting to express their sentiments with their disapproval over Fox News' way of dealing with this campaign. And like I said, I don't think Janae was actually asking any wrong questions. I think she has a not only a constitutional right, but as a journalist, I think she has a right to ask these questions. So, what are we going to do? We're going to start getting into the fact that all of a sudden, this is the irony coming from them. You know, like, for example, they literally go, "Oh, anybody criticizing Israel, it's not automatically anti-Semitic." But yet, if you criticize a Muslim, it's automatically Islamophobic, is it? Is that the stance that we're going to take? So, you know. Now I bet she'll not be sent back. Fox said Janae questioned her Americanism for complaining about Omar's anti-sentiment, which is not hate speech. Now I bet she'll not be sent back. Yeah, I think you'll find Janae will be back. I think she'll be back in a couple of weeks. That's why Facebook went down, I think, to put in a more strict algorithm. Yeah, we actually said that. That's what we thought at the time, actually. It's all happening at once. Yeah, I already contacted Fox about the scam, and Omar was supposed to be sent back to... okay, yeah. Yeah, there are people calling for her to be taken off. This Omar to be removed from office. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but yeah. Anyway, next story. Poll. Half of Americans believe Trump is a victim of a witch hunt. Only half? The new poll found that half Americans agree with President Donald Trump that the special counsel investigation into Russia collusion is a witch hunt in a trust in Robert Mueller's hits an all-time low. The poll conducted by USA Today Suffolk University asked 1,000 registered voters about their views on the Mueller investigation, as special counsel is expected to soon deliver his final report to Attorney General Bill Barr. 50% of voters said they believe Mueller's investigation is a witch hunt, agreeing with Trump's constant assertions that he's been investigated over politics rather than credibility allegations of wrongdoing. Just 28% of those surveyed said they have trust in Mueller's ability to be fair and accurate in his investigation, the lowest level poll to date. In fact, more people now believe Trump's denials more people now believe Trump's denials about collusion rather than trust Mueller. 30% expressed a loss of trust in the president's claim that his campaign did not collude with Russia. Trump tweeting about the poll Monday, it's indicating that very few think the investigation is legit. We'll soon find out, the president asked, perhaps referencing the fact that the investigation is reportedly reaching a conclusion. So 70% believe that he didn't collude with Russia. 30% believe that he did. No, sorry. In fact, more people believe Trump's denial about the conclusion than Mueller. 30% expressed a loss of trust in the president's claim. Expressed a loss of trust in the president's claim. So 70% say they trust him. 30% say they don't. It's quite a big margin you got there, isn't it? But anyway, look, I always said this Trump collusion was a lot of crap. I really did. I didn't believe it in the first place. Russia didn't hack the election. Russia ran Facebook ads. Like, Jesus Christ, you really think that's hacking an election? No, of course not. At the end of the day, the Democrats wanted to use that narrative because they lost the election. So Minnesota was a beautiful city when I had surgery transplant there. But the ladies in the hijabs taking blood at 3 a.m. never once answered when asked what they were doing and never greeted me. Okay. Sorry to hear that. Hope your surgery transplant is okay. Everything's okay with that. But anyway, let's keep going. Because we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 articles, but some of these might be doubles. Actually, we're actually talking about that, so let's talk about this. Minnesota Democrats reportedly want Ilha Maha out. She blames Trump. Democrat Minnesota Representative Ilha Maha blamed President Trump on Sunday after reports that members of the Minnesota Democratic Party are considering removing her from Congress official office for her repeated anti-Semitic statements. "I'm sorry, Mr. Trump," Maha tweeted in response to the reports. I am for real. You can't Muslim ban us from Congress." No, but they can remove you from office if you're anti-Semitic. Apparently. Don't know how I feel about that. Minnesota Democrats are reportedly dismayed that Omar had made a string of bigoted comments about Jews, which have reportedly mass condemned from both sides of the aisles. Consequently, members of the state party are looking for someone to contest her nomination in 2020 and run a different candidate in her place. Rather than blaming the Minnesota Democrats, Omar focused the backlash on Trump's 2017 executive order, which has been referred to as a Muslim ban, which it's not. The executive order suspended U.S. entry for those countries who do not meet adjacent standards under federal immigration law for 90 days and included exceptions on a case-by-case basis. But some of those were not necessarily Muslim countries. So, yeah. Omar, along with fellow Democratic Representative Arish Tamir of Michigan, became America's first Muslim congresswoman when sworn in office in January. Both congresswomen's times in office have been embroiled in allegations of anti-Semitism. They might be the first Muslims to be sworn in and the first ones to be shown out. But anyway, Omar has defended the anti-Semitic statements such as ones invoking Allah to expose Israel's evil doings, and she's on record saying that Israel is not a democracy. She also gave you to host that referred to Israel as Jewish ISIS and mocked how Americans speak about Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah. Both Amar and Seba waited until after they won their congressional elections to reveal their support for boycotting Diversity and Sanctions BDS movement, which seeks to punish Israel by economically depriving the country of its alleged mistreatment of Palestinians living in the Gaza Strip and West Bank. The Anti-Defamation League describes the movement as most potent effort to undermine Israel's existence. BDS has mustized through college campuses. Initially, Pogorism has Students of Justice in Palestine, SJP. The movement's most visible arm, SPG, has been linked to the Islamic terror group Hamas, according to the Washington Free Beacon. Moreover, the US Campaign for Palestine rates the American umbrella group of the BDS movement, has reportedly given money to terrorist organizations like Hamas, Islamic Jihadi, and the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Because, you know, they're great organizations you want to give money to. They're not terrorists at all. But, you know, one man's terrorist and another man's freedom fighter. Omar announced on February that she is scheduled to raise money with the Hamas-linked Council of an American Islamic Relation, or CAR, only weeks after she used an anti-Semitic trope to claim Israel had paid for GOP support. Now, look, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that Israel is innocent in some of this stuff, right? Look, it takes two people to start a war. And if she wants to go through and talk about lobbying in a general term, then I'm all for that. But the thing is, though, she is only focusing on a certain group. And that is why people call her anti-Semitic. It's not because of the fact that she's, you know, they're calling for lobbying or anything like that. It's nothing to do with the lobbying efforts. It's the fact that she's focusing on a certain group. And that's where she's becoming unstuck. That's why she's being labelled anti-Semitic. If she was to go on about lobbying in general, well, then she would have to talk about Palestine's lobbying, I suppose, wouldn't she? And that would be bad. But anyway. Look, at the end of the day, do I think she's anti-Semitic? Yeah. Is the Pope a Catholic? Definitely. And I think that it might be a certain religion that influences that decision. So, yeah. That's my view on all that. And now she won't be sent back to Minnesota despite her hate speech for years. And now she's been acting during oversight meetings. It's incredible the rudeness she displayed to anyone she questioned. Yeah, well, yeah. Is anyone surprised? Look, at the end of the day, I don't know. There's still, this is obviously a new article. They're still going through and they're still reportedly calling her out for it. The main guy from CAR, Islamic Relations Group, is working with Antifa. Oh, that's what you like to hear. There are Twitter feeds that show it. It's not a secret. So that tells me who they are really. That is interesting. I should look into CAR, actually. But yeah, it's actually quite interesting, actually. But yeah, look, I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to her at the moment. They might send her back. They might keep her. I don't know. I hope, to be honest, look, I think she's anti-Semitic. And I really don't like her being in a representative for Minnesota. Not the fact that the way she carries on. So, I don't know. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Donald Trump refutes effort to eliminate MPB NPR federal funding. Re-ups effort, to eliminate. President Donald Trump's proposed funding federal budget for 2020 aims to cut all funding for PBS and NPR, along with the National Enrollment of the Arts, NEA. The president's request, unveiled entirely on Monday, called on Congress to kill the $435 million in funding for Corporation of Public Broadcasting (CPB) and the 126 million from the NEA. The budget, which will spend 4.7 trillion on mandatory and discretionary programs, would leave just enough money to wind down operations of the CPB and NEA. Private fundraising has proven durable, negating the need for continual funding studies, the budget reads. Services such as PBS and NBPR, which receive funding from CPB, could make the shortfall by increasing revenues from corporate sponsors, foundations and members. In addition, alternative to PBS and NPR programs have grown subsequently since CPB was first established in 1967, greatly introducing the need for public funding program options. So at the end of the day, I would say that getting rid of funding for media, I don't think any media should be government funded. I don't think NPR, I don't think SBS, I don't think BBC, any media should be funded by the government. I think that if you're a media corporation, you pay your own way or you shut up shop. Maybe the first couple of years to build yourself up and stuff like that. Maybe I can make an exception for that. If you're new to the industry and you're trying to sort of make headway and you're competing against some of these major corporations, then sure. But yeah, I don't think mainstream media should be subsidized by the government. In a statement, PBS President and CEO Paula Craddock criticized the proposal to slash funding, noting Americans have named PBS among the most publicly trusted known institutes for the past 16 years. Why did you have to be known institutes? Why does it have to be known ones? PBS and other 350 member stations across the country have earned bipartisan congressional support over the years due to the high value of American people place on their service we provide the community. You're kidding, right? People actually trust you? They trust you more than CNN, but that's not really saying a lot. Trust me. For a modest investment of about 1.3 something per citizen, $1.35 per citizen last year, public television provides school readiness for children, support for teachers and caveats, public safety communications, and long-time learning through high-quality content. I am really against people indoctrinating children. I really do. Despite public broadcasters' apparent bias against conservatives and Republican-controlled Congress had funded CPB in 2017 and 2018. So, yeah, I would say at the end of the day, I would say, look, I'm generally against it. I'm generally against funding any mainstream media. People saying here, taxpayer funding NPR and PBS makes as much sense as Trump personally funding CNN. Trump needs to eliminate tax-exempt status for NPR and PBS. It seems like he's got a lot of people. Now, obviously, this is on Breitbart, so it's going to be heavily conservative. But, yeah, it seems like a lot of people are supporting it. I can't disagree until they stop. Sorry, I can't disagree until they stop showing so much bias towards one side. Yeah, well, there's that too. Is that, Amy, are you talking about this article or are you talking about the previous article with the senator for Minnesota? There's supposed to be all of us, not some. I was just watching NPR a couple of weeks ago and had to turn it off. It was anti-Trump, Trump voters, family, etc. Yeah, and that's what it, like someone says literally in the comment section. It's literally the conservatives funding a national broadcasting that is anti-Trump. It's anti-conservative. So why would the government support something that A is not only against them, but B is is partisan. If they were non-partisan, then like me, for example, well, like I try to be, then at the end of the day, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, okay, fine. But like I say, I'm generally against any form of media having tax exemptions. Like YouTube, for example. If YouTube had a open policy and didn't go through and didn't try and censor conservative or non-establishment type voices, I wouldn't give a shit. But they receive tax exemptions too. But then obviously at the end of the day, if you go eliminating all those tax exemptions, it could cause the companies to leave the country. And that's a bad thing. But yeah, it's a minefield. You obviously got to, yeah. It was public television. That's pretty cool, actually. Government broadcasting should not go outside of public service announcements. Government broadcasting should not go outside of public service announcements. Yeah, true. And Amy agrees with you too, Ryan. There you go. You got 3 people agreeing with you. 2 or 3 people. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I think that anyone going through and funding, like governments funding this sort of stuff, is generally pretty wrong. Yeah, I would say, I'll talk about that in a sec. I'll fill you in a sec, TJ. But yeah, I would say that at the end of the day, it's sort of any sort of government funding for national broadcasting should go. They should be able to stand on their own 2 feet, especially when they're partisan hacks. TJ, regarding your question, they are, I will bring up the article again because it's still up. They are calling for her to leave the Democratic Party. But there's still no word as of yet. Let me just double check Twitter to see if there's an update. Latest. Nothing yet. Still nothing that I can see of at the moment. So yeah. But anyway. As for Judge Jeannie, she's been suspended for 2 weeks. I suspect she'll be back then. So I don't think she's going to be fired. I think that if she gets fired, Fox is going to have a huge problem on hands. I did also say earlier, something you might have missed. I have also tweeted out a support Jeannie. Mispronouncing that name. Let me show you guys on the screen. So if you want to go to my Twitter account and retweet it or like it, whatever it may be, I will bring it up for you now. This is it here. Oops. That. So this is the thing that I tweeted out earlier. I thought it was pretty good actually. I'll wait for it to load. Internet's still pretty shitty, guys. How's the internet? Is it better now than it was always been? Is it stopped like buffering so much? Or is it still buffering a lot? Let me know, guys. So here it is here. I stand with Jeannie. Fox News, bring her back or we're not coming back. And then just a whole bunch of people saying they stand with Jeannie. There's that, which... I have to sign in. There's that with I stand with Jeannie. Yeah. So, people are voicing her support for it. This, guys, you can go through, and it is on my Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, you can go through and re-support that or resubmit that or retweet that. Like, retweet, whatever you may. And show your support for Janine if you want. So... Yes, that's buffering. Cool. I am running through a third party. That supposedly helps. So, yeah. It's not a petition. It's just a thing I found on Twitter to support. It's a video, actually. Yeah. Don't know if there's actually any audio. No, there's not. It's just a whole bunch of people saying retweet if you agree. Yeah. Buffering's probably happening when I try and load something. So, yeah. But yeah, you can go through and retweet that if you agree. Like I said, it's on my Twitter account. Link in the description below. I don't know who's the CEO of Fox. Roger Ellis. Roger Ellis is the CEO of Fox. Obviously, guys, I must say this. Do not go and harass him. Obviously, if you have a problem with him firing Janine, then obviously you can go through and express your dismay. But obviously, please do not go and harass him. But there he is there. Roger Ellis. He is the CEO of Fox News and Fox TV stations. So... Oh, no, hang on. Is this old, is it? Oh, really? Oh, okay. Wow, okay. I'm out of date. Who's the new guy, do you know? He has to update Wikipedia then. Well, ignore that one. Who's the new guy? I don't know who the new guy is actually. I have no idea who the new one is. Alright, well, yeah, I'm fake news. But yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Alright. Apparently he's even died. I don't know how true that is, but... There's an article here saying he's died. Murdoch is... Oh, okay. No. Murdoch's himself. Murdoch Jr. and wife, maybe. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't know about if actually approaching the Murdochs would do you any good. I would say you're probably better off. There is a phone number. I'll get that on the screen for you guys. So... so this happened on May 18th, 2017. Media titan Roger Ellis, who has resigned from his position as chairman of chairman, of CEO of Fox News Channel, amidst sexual harassment allegations last year, has died at age 77. Died of bleeding on the brain caused by a fall at home. So, yeah. As for Fox, I do have this for you guys. If you want to express your disapproval in a peaceful, lovely way, There's the phone number for Fox News. Or at Fox News. So, yeah. If you want to contact Fox News and peacefully and without harassing them, express your disapproval, then at the end of the day, there's the phone number, there's their Twitter account. You can contact their senior executive vice president, which is Egna Bugatti. So, it's Rupert Murdoch and he hates Trump. So yeah, Murdoch owns a lot of Australian media. So he's taking Fox in a CNN direction. Oh goody, he's going to screw that over too, is he? Yeah, he's basically done that with media in here in Australia. But anyway, guys, yeah, if you want to, I'll put a link in the chat actually. There's the topic thread. Or I'm just going to... I will retweet that actual thing itself. Copy image location. Save. Save. Alright, and I'm going to tweet it out, and I'll put a link to the thread so you guys can just retweet it if you like. Tweet image nonpartisan. Where is it? I can't find where I've saved the image to. Why do I always have to pick the longest running file I have? There it is. And they even got a hashtag. How about that? I stand with Judge Jeannie. There we go. At Fox News. And I'll also put hashtag Fox News as well. There you go. Alright guys, I'll post a link so you can go through and you can retweet that if you like. And I'll do that in a sec. There you go. Cool. Current CEO is Susan Scott. Okay. As far as I know, Murdoch is alive. Yeah, he's alive, unfortunately. Okay, when did he die? Murdoch's not dead. It was the other guy, the previous guy who died. Either way, between Shepard, Smith, it's all beyond obvious that they want Fox to go faster, since the Dems uninvited them to the debates. True. They should find a conservative company to buy Fox News, and that way Fox News won't turn liberal. Yeah, the problem is that there's not a lot of investors who actually do that. Cable's dead, they can have it. True. I have everyone I know that get news from the internet, radio, before another CNN, MSN. True. True, cable is dead, yeah. Now, this is the tweet that I have. There you go, guys. So you can go through and retweet that if you like. Alright. Let's keep going. Okay. Exclusive, Donald Trump, invasion coming at the border. US has captured thousands of illegal aliens. President Donald Trump told Breitbart News during the exclusive interview last Monday that there is an invasion of illegal immigration coming across the southern border. You know, talking about an invasion, Trump said in one response to the question from Senator Breitbart News White House correspondent Charlie Spillane about the immigration policy. People get angry on the other side when I use the word invasion. There is an invasion, but it's an invasion not only of people, but an invasion of drugs and human traffickers and other things. Trump also argued that the language that the United States should use for illegal aliens who federal agents take into custody should be the word captured rather than apprehended. He also argued that he needs more Border Patrol and Immigration Customs Enforcement agents, or ICE, shifted away from catch and release and other loopholes that allow illegal aliens to take advantage of the system and get right into the country. Quote, look, I need border security. We've done a great job, Trump said. Trump also said, look, when I say we apprehended 75,000 people last month, you know that had a good job. They aren't people that came in. They're people that haven't been. I say I should use different words. Maybe because they don't understand the word apprehended. Maybe they don't know what it means. Should we use the word captured? We captured 75,000 people last month. It's never been like that. The biggest problem we have, we've captured 75,000 people. The problem we have is that you have catch and release. You have all of these crazy loopholes. What we do is I call catch and keep. So Trump also argued that the need for border wall is exemplified in the fact that more people come across the area where there's currently no barriers, which is true. Don't let anyone tell you that they don't come through those areas, Trump said. When they have women in the back of the vans because they know when they stop at a port of entry, they open the doors so they're going to see it. When they have big boxes of drugs, they open the doors. The biggest part comes in the area where they don't have the walls, where they go out in the land into the deserts. During the interview, President Trump also said that he does not want people coming into the country who are desperate on welfare programs. Now, he also turned around and said that, in addition, President Trump said he was considering redesignating the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorists organizations. On Friday, President Trump announced an exclusive order strengthening the government's definition of transnational criminal organizations. And hello, Satellite of Discontent. How are you?
Hello. How you doing?
I'm not bad. How are you, buddy? By the way, they can hear you.
Not bad.
They can hear
I
you.
slept in.
Yeah, he slept in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna change the little icon. Change it from a little communist flag to a little sleepy head. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Your icon's up now.
My little of fixing the sleeping pattern. It's a hiccup, but
Yeah.
I'll be back on.
That's alright, man. I just started with that. Yeah, we're still going.
I just heard the story you were talking about.
Yeah, so invasion coming in from the border.
Yes. It is a national emergency. Is he getting his wall?
There's no word on that. This is a article that he's or an interview he did with Breitbart, where he's just talking about the language that's used. He's saying that at the end of the day, we should use words like capture instead of, for example, arrested. What did he say? We should use words like capture rather than apprehended. So it's all mostly about language, but he's basically calling it a national emergency at the border, talking about an invasion of illegal immigration coming across the border, as well as drugs and people. So, yeah.
Well, firstly, awesome that he's talking to the other media that's not failing and having their staff fired every other day.
Yep.
Woohoo! For Breitbart getting an interview with Trump.
Yeah.
And secondly, I agree. That's actually not really that bad of an idea. I suppose it's important to get your terms correct and your
Hmm.
definitions need to be in order. So I agree. Yeah. I always caution though. I am wary of politicians and their new speak. That
Hmm.
thing that we clearly know that politicians have been doing for generations.
Yep.
But I don't hear anything there that sounds like new speak. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, obviously, just different terminologies can sometimes relay a different message. Obviously, Trump is trying to use language that obviously,
Yes. Words mean.
yeah. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't have a real big problem with him changing these and using these words. I think it's a good thing. It sort of shows, the importance of the border wall. So yeah. Agree 7 and TJ. What else can we do? True. Let them talk. They're just parody at this point. Enjoy the show. True. Yep, like Queen said, the show must go on. True. Very true. The show must go on. Apart from that, we do have a update when it comes to ICE. So ICE's disputed Democrats claim they are in custody of sick baby. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE dispute claims Monday that they are refusing medical care for several sick infants that are currently being detained with his father at the border. The claims that ICE is housing sick infants are originated in a Twitter thread because, Twitter is real life apparently, over the weekend by RAICES, RAICES, a non-profit that provides legal services to illegal immigrants. So there's no bias whatsoever in that whatsoever. RAICES asserted that they are in contact with a father who said his baby is suffering from non-stop diarrhea, stomach pain, and is unable to eat. The family is alleged being kept in the Kansas detention center in Texas. What do you reckon the chances of this being real and this being a fake story?
So when I heard these stories of like a father whose kid had died, and then I think there was a few others there where there was children suffering. As far as I'm aware, they're all fake news. Either the event didn't happen or the event did happen, but was reported in a way that it was ICE's fault when it actually wasn't. A really good example is when the father had actually told the media that yes, he did actually lie to the ICE agents initially, thinking, he's just saying, no, she's fine, everything's fine. Then when ICE finally found out that actually, no, the kid is in grave health danger, they rushed the child to hospital for treatment. Unfortunately, by then it was too late and the child had died. The media did reported that ICE just didn't care or, didn't listen.
Yeah.
When he clearly told the reporter, no, I did lie. Look, I did lie, but they didn't report that. Like, they changed the story.
Yeah.
And so whenever they, so the problem is, it's like the boy who cried wolf now. We don't know whether they're lying about ICE or whenever they write a story right now. It's hard to know if anyone did anything wrong at ICE.
Yeah, and look, ICE is obviously turning around saying they don't have the childs. They don't have the children that are sick. So I would tend to agree with ICE more than some father who's trying to claim claim amnesty and get into a country. Like, I've got a sick kid is a pretty good excuse to, speed up your application to get in the country even. So, but yeah. At the end of the day, I would say that ICE is right. They don't have the sick child. Yeah, I think it's fake news. Alright, next one. Donald Trump to General Motors close a plant in China, not Ohio. Oof. President Donald Trump continued extorting General Motors on Monday for closing an automotive plant in Lawson, Ohio. Get that big, beautiful plant in Ohio open now, Trump said. Close a plant in China or Mexico where you invested so heavily pre-Trump, but not in the USA. Bring jobs home. I fully support this. The president also expressed frustration that talks between General Motors and the United Auto Workers Union would begin in September or October. Why wait? Start them now, he wrote. I want jobs to stay in the USA. I want Lordston, Ohio, one of the best economies in our history, opened or sold to a company who will open it up fast. Trump began attacking General Motors CEO Mary Brenner on Sunday for closing down the plant at the time when American economy was booming. His posts on Twitter earned a phone call from Barbara over the weekend. I asked her to sell it or to do something quickly, Trump revealed. She blamed the UAW union. I don't care, I just want it open. The Lordstown, Ohio plant employed about 1,500 American workers and produced the Chevron Cruze before it closed. General Motors announced plans in November 2018 to lay off up to 14,700 workers in North America. In June, General Motors announced the revamped Chevrolet Blazer would be produced in Mexico as the company employs about 15,000 people there. In December, they announced a new plant opening up in China. Barbara and Trump initially had a good relationship as she joined him for meetings and roundtable promoting the US auto industry. But GM's continued layoff raised tensions between the president and the CEO of General Motors, who once considered a possible vice president candidate by failed president candidate Hillary Clinton. Very disappointed with General Motors and their CEO Mary Barra for closing plants in Ohio, Michigan, and Maryland, Trump wrote in November 2018, noting nothing beating closing in Mexico and China. The US saved General Motors, and this is the thanks we get. That's actually a very good point. General Motors was bailed out by Trump, by the US economy. So, yeah, should they stay in the US? Well, I reckon they should stay in the US because it's good for America. But, you know, do they owe the American people something by them being bailed out?
Well, they owe the American people in two things. GM was built on the back of US workers.
True.
And yes, it was also bailed out. Same thing happened with Australia. Holden did the same thing. Was it Holden or Ford?
Holden.
I think Holden, the bailout here too.
And we've lost both.
And then they both left anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what the hell are we bailing them out for if they're not staying?
No good.
I reckon in future,
exactly.
If you want to get bailed out by a country because you're having financial problems, then at the end of the day, you should sign something to say that you're not only going to stay in that country, but you're going to increase the numbers of workers in that country. I would be all for that.
Yeah. The problem also, though, is that bailouts don't make a lot of sense to me, actually.
No.
Hear me out on this. If you have to bail out a company because it's failing, then giving them more money is just going to delay the failure.
True.
Would you agree with that? Because if people aren't buying the product...
Yeah, I would agree, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was expecting more of a resistance on that one, people. Anyway, but no, yeah, I agree with you. I reckon that bailing out's a bad idea. I don't think the banks should have been bailed out. And I don't understand. Oh yeah,
I would have loved to see the banks fail.
And I don't understand why that. For example, why do you have to bail out a bank when they make all this money? What exactly, like? I don't know. I want to look into this more because it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, when you do research on a bailout. Also look into the bail-in, because the bail-in is where it's now legal for, instead of the taxpayers' money bailing out the bank, it's now legal for a bank to just take a percentage of all of the funds that are stored by its customers to do a bail-in, apparently.
Oh, that's
lovely.
Lovely, yeah. Just take some of the monies from your customers now.
yeah, they can just steal your money.
All right. Anyway, should probably keep going. Newspeak. Okay. Oh my gosh, I never heard of this. If a U.S. after a hurricane, tornado, fake way to get sympathy for ISIS, Europeans to come back. If the border issue, same thing. The parents are responsible. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's fake news, to be honest with that kid. I don't think that kid's actually really there. I think it's fake. And by the way, many Americans are still homeless after the weather tragedies. Yeah, still true. Trump will never get credit for anything ever. Too many elites enjoy the illegal sweatshops available in places like China. Talk about collusion. That's actually a really good point. At the end of the day, you know, it's funny. Everybody goes on about how, like, people go on about, like, for example, Trump, and they go on about, Trump's evil and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, you want to try working in a Chinese market that's making your iPhone. You want to go on about capitalism and everything like that? Go and have a look at some of these Chinese sweatshops that these progressives seem to want to toe the line for. Those issues are what make people who mean us nothing good, like AOC, popular with the youngsters. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, these people that go on about socialism and all this sort of shit. They're all walking around with their iPhones. You know, they're all pushing the agenda for the yeah. All right. George W. Bush says immigration is blessing and a strength during nationalization ceremony. Oh, goody. Bush told the group he hopes that responsible in Washington can dial down the rhetoric, put politics aside, and modernize our immigration laws soon. So, Dallas former President George W. Bush welcomed the U.S. citizens during nationalization ceremony in Dallas, saying that amid all the complications of policy, may we never forget that immigration is a blessing and a strength. Bush and former First Lady Laura Bush both spoke to the 50 or so candidates for nationalization during this ceremony Monday. He's instituted W.G. Bush Presidential Center. He told the group that came from more than 20 different countries that he hopes that those responsible in Washington can dial down the rhetoric, put politics aside, and modernize our immigration laws soon. Nothing public debate on immigration can get pretty sharp, he told them. They signed up with the boisterous democracy. He encouraged them to participate and then vote.
It's so nice how out one side of the mouth, politicians are, oh my God, we have to have less children because the environment, and then at the other side of the mouth, immigration is our greatest strength and diversity is awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're trying to replace people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there. And that's about all I'm going to say on that. I don't know. You want to distract people for 5 minutes while I go and find out how much it is to buy an island? How much to buy an island? An island. Public islands for sale. Cool. I'll look at that later. Now, obviously I'm sort of half joking, people. Although I am actually looking up islands for sale. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, yeah, it's, yeah, I don't know. Hey, did you hear Australia's going to cut their immigration policy?
Cut
some.
What do you mean?
Well, you know how we take in around 190,000 immigrants a year. That's our ceiling cap.
Yeah.
We're going to reduce it.
We're reducing it?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Okay. That's interesting. Good news.
Yeah. So, do you want to guess how much they're reducing it by, or reducing it to?
Let me think. 190 down to, oh no, they're reducing it to 100?
No. Keep going. Have another guess.
Oh. 50?
Oh,
50,000?
no, you're going the wrong way, dude.
Wait. You're saying they're reducing it from 190?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so it's actually increasing?
No. It's dropping from 190. It's going down to 160,000.
Oh, 100,000.
No, 160,000. They're dropping it
Oh, is
by...
that all?
Yeah, they're dropping it by 30,000.
Oh, that's really not that great.
No. It's kind of a load of crap, to be honest, isn't it? I thought you might be happy with that. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that, something positive move. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's going down. That's good.
Yeah.
But it's not by enough.
No.
Not by a long shot.
No. I would like to see that 60,000 drop to... Well, 160,000, sorry. I would like to see that drop to... I don't know. What do you reckon? I don't know. 60,000? 75,000?
Yeah, somewhere between 50 and 60, 75, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I found an island for sale. So there is a...
Did you see the story about children being... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, sorry. There's a 643,000... No, so 643 acres. It's off the Greece Islands. But it's upon request. Alright, never mind. Sorry, what were you going to say? I'm looking up islands, don't mind me. What were you going to say?
Yeah, there's a story about children being coddled to the point where it's actually damaging their ability to survive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where Tim Pool got it from. Something like he mentioned, like one girl who couldn't handle sauce. I was just, what? But when I noticed that you were live, I'm like, oh, I'll pause this and fin. So.
Couldn't handle sauce?
Yeah, apparently, like as a kid, she had a problem with the visual of sauce on food.
Maybe it looks like blood, and maybe that's.
And so apparently her mum. Yeah, and so her mum used to do things like not have sauce around the house and call ahead to friends' places to remove sauce or not have it there.
Yeah.
And because she continued that her whole life, when she went to college, it ruined her life, yeah.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I would say. Hey, there's a island off for sale off the New Zealand South Pacific.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you actually go on Google Maps and look at islands, there's actually just so many, like little tiny islands that no one's ever heard of because, well, they're just tiny. No one lives there. But I'd be wary of that because I don't think they populate or do anything with these islands because they know that being so small, they would be subject to total catastrophes on a regular basis. Because they don't have the ability to prevent large waves from just, washing over them, hurricanes just wrecking the surfaces regularly.
No,
I'd say that unless you...
I was going to say, a lot of these islands that I'm actually looking up are actually inhabited. Like, they actually have, like, buildings and stuff on them.
Oh, yeah. I'm just mentioning there's also, like, other islands, too, that are just little things that don't have anything on them. Yeah, it's just interesting, and it's actually fun to do it. Like, Google Earth is even more interesting because then you get like nice visuals and stuff.
Yeah, just to show people that I'm not actually trolling, I'm actually looking it up. There's you can see on the screen here. This is the website. Private Islands Incorporated. You can actually buy islands.
I'm surprised they're not all bought up by the elites. That's interesting.
Well, you know, give it time. I suppose they would be. You can search by region. You can search by price. You know, there's currently 432 islands for sale. So, you know, yeah. If it ever gets bad enough, we can always just go and jump on an island. But anyway, I'll put that aside for later viewing. Alright, anyway, let's jump back into it. So, food stamps usage falls to $37 million for the first time since October 2009. Goes to show the economy is actually doing really, really well. So overall participation in America's food stamp program fell to $37 million for the first time since October 2009, according to the latest statistics by the US Department of Agriculture. The most recent USDA data revealed that 37,911,631 people received food stamps through the Supplement Nutrition Allowance Program, or SNAP, in December 2018, marking the lowest levels of overall participation in the National Food Stamp Program in nearly 10 years. The last time the overall participation in food stamps reached its level was in October 2009. Who was the president back in 2009? Was that,
Oh, you explain it.
8 years ago? That would have been Bush, wouldn't it? Who was the president back in October 2009? But anyway, President President of United States of America. But anyway, keep going. I think it was Bush. When the 37,672,811 were on the government dole. Now, the overall food stamp participation had consistently declined since 2013, when Obama administration was in power and enrolled the program reached its highest levels in American history. After 2013, the SNAP enrollment plummeted once state legislature passed laws requiring food stamp participants to work, attend school, volunteer, or participate in job training for a set number of hours per week to receive benefits. So back in 2009 was George W. Bush, so another Republican. That's interesting, isn't it? According to the latest USDA data, 4.2 million Americans have dropped off the food stamp rolls during Trump's presidency. President Trump also signaled that he is looking to limit dependency on welfare programs like food stamps even further. The president recently told Breitbart News in an Oval Office interview that he does not want any immigrants coming to the US to be dependent on welfare programs. I don't want to have anyone coming to the that's on welfare, Trump told Breitbart News on last Monday.
That's fair enough. We have that problem here in Australia. That immigration that we talked about recently.
Yeah.
They come here and they get straight onto all of our welfare systems, like all of them. Now, social welfare systems don't work unless the person drawing from the welfare has paid into the system. So, and I think that's pretty simple for most people to understand. I don't know why the left is like, just take in all you want and open welfare for all, open borders. It doesn't make sense, man.
Oh, okay. Amy's saying that January 2009, Obama was sworn in. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, okay, so, alright, yeah. The first article I looked up said it was Bush, but it was Obama. Yeah, you're right, actually. I just double-checked. Different sites, yeah. Alright, yeah, I don't know why they said Bush. But anyway. But yeah, moving along. But yeah, like I said, look, at the end of the day, obviously food stamps are bad. Obviously people relying on food stamps are bad, because at the end of the day, it means it's people below the poverty line. Obviously Trump going through and improving the economy is one reason why stamps are been reduced. Also, I have heard he has also made it tougher for people to get on food stamp programs by obviously encouraging people to work and yada yada yada. Look, at the end of the day, I think that if you need to eat, if you don't have food in your house, then at the end of the day, you're going to do what it takes to get food, right? So if people are going off the program because it's too tough to get the food stamp program, I doubt they were needing the food stamps in the first place. Like, you're going to make it so that you have to eat, you know, but I don't know, you know, do I want food?
But there's always... Well, there's always a percentage of people who abuse a welfare state.
True.
You can't remove the welfare state because of a few bad actors. I mean, I know that back in the day when I was growing up on the radio, there was this guy. He used to rail on the concept of the dole bludgers, these damn dole bludgers, and he used to go on about dole bludgers every other night. And the thing is that, like, the problem is nowhere near as big as some of these people say it is. It can get bad, but when it's not, it's interesting because when you have high immigration, people going onto that is what would destroy a social welfare state. But I wouldn't say that a few people who abuse the system are that big of a problem. I think that the media and the politicians use the excuse of people abusing the system as an excuse to kill those systems. That's the way I see it.
I think there is a bit of
Feel
abuse.
free to disagree.
Yeah. Oh, gee, thanks. Can I? What I was going to say, I think there is people that abuse the system. I do think there are people that go through and who do take advantage of the situation. For example, sorry if you guys just had a lot of banging. I just moved the mic. I was going to say, I had an ex, for example, who would sit at home and play the games and play the Xbox all day. And, you know, she'd be like, oh, I'm looking for work. Oh, I'm looking for work. And it wasn't until the point where I turned around and had literally said, you got 3 months to get a job, or you're moving back in with your parents. And after that, she then basically got a job within a week. But before that, 18 months. She was playing the Xbox. Like, you're going to tell me that she was motivated in that 18 months to get a job? Like, she might have gone through the motions. She might have gone through and put in the application and everything like that. But at the end of the day, are you really going to tell me that she was looking at getting a job? What do you reckon?
No, I know what you're saying. Oh, dude, like times when I've gone to buy something like off of Facebook, like I find something like getting a phone or get a monitor or just something that's needed, and you find something secondhand. And, you know, I drive out to these areas. They're known as, you know, the housing commission areas. And, you know, you see the stereotypical lounge on the front porch, people sitting there drinking beer. You go inside, it's like, holy crap! Why is there a mattress in the living room? Just all this sort of shit. And yeah, I know that these people exist. Yes, these are the dole bludgers. These are the leeches on the system. Yeah. But can you really say that percentage is really that high enough to actually destroy said social welfare system?
No, and I'm not saying to destroy it. And this is where I'm coming across as more right wing than you. I'm not saying to destroy the system. What I am saying is go through and clean it up and get rid of people off the system that are bludging on it, so that there is more for everybody else who do actually need it. Like, and this is the thing, right? Like, and this is,
I think.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, just quickly, Shush, just let me finish. But what I was going to say was, at the end of the day, and what I was going to say was, like, my ex, for example, right? If she wanted to play games and sit around and play games and stuff like that, and she wanted to do that for a living, why didn't she get her ass on Twitch? She had a great ass. She had a great body. She could have got on Twitch and shooken it and made $30,000 a month, right? And that's what my argument to her was. If you want to stay at home and play games, do it, but get paid for it. And that was my argument was, you know, like, I don't care if she wants to stay home and play games. Just make your money so that you're not relying on government to do it. But, I don't know, what were you going to say?
Yeah. I was just going to say that you got to remember the government does need to be careful about the problem that a certain amount of these people, you take away their welfare because you clearly see that these people are just abusing it. But they actually won't turn to work; they'll turn to crime. You do need to be careful about raising crime rates in certain areas. This is a thing.
I think that's a lot of crap. I think if someone's going to turn to crime, because at the end of the day the government's cutting off their allowance, then that is saying a lot about them. For example, regarding how they like them and regards to their motivation, I suppose, is about lack of a better word, about getting off their ass and motivating to get a job and to become a pillar of society. That's if that's the case, if someone has to turn around to crime because they don't want to, you know, work, then that has a bigger implication for society.
Well, one other thing I'll say then too, when I was forced to go to these job agencies, one of the ones I went to was one for specifically for people who have disabilities. I also worked, like, this is just, you know, my subjective theme that I would see. It's just one example or something. I don't know how big of a problem this is. But for example, I remember seeing this one lady. She looked like she was 45, 50 years old. And she would struggle to walk through the office to the room. And would have like she had some crazy issue with her breathing. And I just look at that and go, why are you doing this to this person? This person clearly cannot work.
Yeah,
no one can hire a person.
There is a big difference between, for example, someone not being able to work and someone being a bludger. And I do want to say that. So, by the way, I found an island, 92
but I just
acres.
saw the system.
I found an island, 92 acres for 160,000. Nice. Yeah, sorry.
I'm just saying, like, obviously this lady has fallen through the cracks of the crackdown on the system, like, you know, trying to get people off the system. Here in Australia, there's a big push on that. And I'm just thinking, look, I mean, I'm seeing this person who works there can see that this lady is having these issues and she's just ignoring it and going, even actually being belligerent about it. Like, you know, there's the guy who's helping her to get through the office, sit down, and he's just shaking his head like, what is wrong with these people making her come here like this? It's just, you know, I don't know. To me, it felt like they're not doing it right. I see people in the system, and then I see people who are being.
Well,
sorry about that. My Bluetooth headset just turned off. The battery died.
Oh, okay.
Where was I up to?
People falling through the cracks.
Yeah, they've fallen through the cracks, and I just think that there are people who are abusing the system, and then there are people who are being abused by the system. That's sort of my point there.
But at the end of the day, we shouldn't go through, and we shouldn't stop clamping down on people because they are being because some people are being abused by the system. Because, you know, there are people, like you say, who do abuse the system. So, you know, yeah. But anyway. Found an island that's up for sale for $6 million US. 44 acres. It's off the coast of Asia. Anyway, probably should keep going. Yeah. Dead Philippines whale had 40 kilo of plastic in stomach. So a dead whale that washed up in the Philippines had 40 kilos of, or 88 pounds of plastic bag inside its stomach, researchers have said. Workers at the Debone Collector Museum recovered the carnivore's baked whale east of Denver City in early March. In a Facebook post, the museum said the animal was filled with the most plastic we have ever seen in a whale. There were 16 rice snacks in its stomach, as well as multiple shopping bags. The museum will post a full list of the items found on the whale over the next few days. But yeah, I was not prepared for the amount of plastic in the mammal's founder and the president, Daryl Bretchery, told the CNN. It was so big the plastic was being qualificationed. The use of throwaway plastics is a particular problem in some southern Eastern Asian countries, including Philippines. 5 Asian nations, China, Indonesia, and Philippines, Vietnam, and Thailand, account for up to 60% of the plastic waste that ends up in the oceans, according to a 2015 report by Environmental Campaigner. So, like I say, look, at the end of the day, yeah, I was going to say, look, at the end of the day, I would say that these are the... It's ironic because the West is the ones that has to get rid of our plastic bags, but it seems like these Asian countries make up to 60% of the waste. So, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine most of this we got from...
How long do you want me to rant on this one?
Yeah, no. Not too long. What have you got to say?
I'll try and keep it short then.
Okay.
Well, basically what I have to say on this is, and I'll keep it short.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the list of countries that give off CO2 emissions and general garbage waste, countries in the West mostly are down at the bottom, except for America. So America has the highest CO2 emissions, and then it's China. Sorry, I think it's China above US, but only barely. And then when it comes to like the plastics and all these, again, it's the Asian countries. And basically, yet it's the Western countries that are doing all the programs to use renewable energy and to stop using plastics and things like that. And that's all I have to say on that. I think it's a cop out. It's BS.
Yeah,
especially for Australia. For CO2 in Australia, we are a percentage of a percentage, yet we apparently have to lead the charge on renewables and pay exorbitant prices for electricity as a result.
Oh, I found another island for $7.5 million. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we get
being
blamed.
so distracted.
I'm looking up islands. I'm putting it on the screen. But what I was going to say was, yeah, look, at the end of the day, I think we get cops out. We get blamed for a lot of this stuff. It is off the coast of Ireland, though, so, you know, it's going to be quite chilly. But what I was going to say was, yeah, I think we get blamed for a lot of this stuff. And at the end of the day, I think that the major problem or the major reason why this stuff happens with the plastic bags is because of places like Asia and that. And I would like to see them take some credit for this, instead of us having to go through and take all the responsibility. It's on the screen if you guys want to see an island. It's for sale for $7.5 million. It's not a bad island. It's got some wave breaks. It's got a beach. It's got a couple of beaches. You know? What do you reckon? Hey, buy that one. All it needs another $7.5 million.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Alright, but yeah, but look, at the end of the day, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I think these Asia countries are the ones that mostly are responsible for this stuff. But yeah, I would like to see them take some responsibility. I haven't read out chat for a little while because I've been slightly distracted, so let's go through and read some of these. Who wants asylum would... Sorry?
There is one little thing I suppose I could mention, and as to play a devil's advocate to myself for what I said there.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to third world countries, there is an argument. There's very few things I agree with when it comes to these things that come from documentaries about what happens in Africa. This one I agree with very much so. There are communities in Africa that are the United Nations and all that. They're not industrialized because it's bad for the environment. I say again, cop out. Because I don't agree with climate change. I'm a climate change denier, pretty much.
Well, I agree with climate change, but I think it's
these countries are being
natural.
held down by these policies. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's natural, not man-made.
Yeah.
And so they're holding back these third world countries, not letting them use fossil fuels, having them to have to use solar panels and all this sort of caper. And I reckon it's holding these countries back from being able to industrialize and build their own cities and nations. And I just find it horrible.
Yeah, I do think it is a little bit rich when you turn around and you start limiting development of countries because of climate change and whatnot, and it's like, yeah, really? Yeah. Alright. Well, let's read out some of these chats. Anyone who wants asylum would stop at the first separate country they hit, not keep moving until they get where they want to be. Couple tunnel eventually. Xbox was addicting. No, she just was really, really good at Halo and stuff like that. She could have made money while playing by hosting. Well, she could have made by being on Twitch too, yeah. Or other network writing college papers. Yeah, she could have, yeah. She could have done a lot of things too. But crime takes work, so that's the point. It seems like it's about character. Yeah, I think if you go through crime and you're picking that over working for a decent job, it's just been lazy or just shows lack of character, to be honest. People
I just find it funny that you advocated for her. You advocated for her to become a titty streamer.
Not a titty streamer, a Twitch streamer.
A Twitch thought.
Well, okay, so not all gay... Okay, so I'm going to sound like a white knight here. Not all girl gamers are Twitch thoughts. Right?
I know, I'm just stirring you.
Trust me, if I come home and she was flashing her junk on Twitch, we would have had a very long and complicated conversation about it.
Nah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just stirring you, man.
Like,
you said that she's really good at the game.
Yeah.
So that means that she was actually a proper girl gamer, not one.
Yeah, she was actually, and she never used to jump on headsets, because of the fact that she just didn't want people or guys hitting on her, and she used to just play Halo and all that. And look, she was really good to look at. Like, she could have made some decent money being on Twitch. Even just like playing the game normally and stuff like that. Non-person live or non-person media. Nice. I'm going to add you on Twitter and get that permission per page emotion. Okay, yeah, sure, no worries. Amy, the island in the sea. Oh, so sad. Where I live in West Virginia, I see people who work hard and not work than I do at my full-time job. Who work harder to not work than I do at my full-time job. That's true, TL. Yeah. Welcome, by the way. Domesticated animals would eat plastics and rocks if no food. But my gosh, that's tragic. Yeah, it is a little bit sad about the whale too. Beat the straws didn't come from CA. China is the worst abuser, yet AOC says nothing. True. Why doesn't she say something? Might be because of an agenda.
As I say, if you see something, say something.
Sorry, what was it?
If you see something, say something, as they say.
True. What do you do, if I may ask? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, she's yeah. Ireland, yes. Oh look, 7 million. Well now, my TV is a 13-year-old Emerson, so yeah. I'm not expecting you to help fund the island, Amy. But hey, you never know. You might get an invitation there if I buy one. Does anyone else go through the footage and find out what the gunman wrote on the rifles? Yes, TL, we have. There is a lot of links to to terrorist survivors of Islamic attacks. There's a lot of passages regarding Bibles and regards to God sending out their warriors. But there's also that's one or two of the incidences. But there's a lot of information on there about victims of domestic violence, of terrorist attacks. Sorry. Climate change has been used by the politicians. True. We just went offline for a split second. Weird. I downloaded it so it gets whips. I shouldn't say that. I've heard experts say they're using a tiny bit less than 100 years ago. Yep, we're still live. Yep, you can still hear me. Yep. Industrialization would help population. Yep. Hey, you're back on your headset, are you?
I can hear you.
Yep, cool. No worries. Wow, you guys distract me. Sorry, Amy. We're sorry to distract you. Yep, gotta watch the online people looking for a perk. Awesome Island, I'm available for that. I saw the rifle SA-14 on. It was weird. Yeah, the 14 is in relation to Podesta, isn't it? Wasn't that something that Podesta had?
I believe so.
Yeah. And that's what I figured.
Yeah, the 14 is something to do with Podesta.
Yeah. And that's what I figured he wrote.
I'm sorry. There's a lot of lag through the Discord again today.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to fix that. I can't fix that.
Yeah, it's just your bandwidth at the moment. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I'm streaming as well as looking up islands and stuff like that. So, I wrote listen in the other night, but I didn't know what you discovered in the yeah, no worries, man. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of it was actually writings in regards to victims of terrorism. There was a lot of people, a lot of names on these rifles, in memory of victims of, survivors and victims of terrorist attacks. So yeah, it's actually quite telling that the media hasn't actually done what was on the rifles.
Yeah, there's no mainstream articles about like his main impetus was the girl from Sweden, and not one article actually talks about her. No. Which is interesting. And no articles really are talking about the 130 dead Christians by Muslims either. Over the past 3 weeks in Nigeria. I think we're one of the very few people that talks about it. Yeah, I actually went and looked that up. So it was a church bombing, and it was a terrorist attack. Yeah, and it was very little. I find it disgusting, disturbing that 130 Christians blown up in a church. No one bats an eye. 49 killed in a mosque. Everyone loses their shit. Yeah. I actually tweeted out this. Yesterday, I believe, last night, I tweeted out saying at the end of the day, if you want to talk about terrorism, let's talk about this too. Let's not just talk about one side of these terrorist attacks. Yeah. But yeah, like no one really challenged me on that debate, and I don't think anybody really saw it too. I'm pretty sure my stuff is, yeah. I actually, funny enough, I actually saw that video from that. I didn't watch it, but I saw it on a video sharing platform late last night. So the video is still available. You can still find it if you look for it. Obviously not saying where, but it is available still. Yeah. I did see it. I saw the 14-minute version of it. All right, let's jump into the last article.
Papa John's Pizza is bringing out a Marmite stuffed crust pizza. Last story, finish up for the day. Obviously, just because, you know, hey, let's make it a little fun. Let's try and end on a good note, I suppose. Either you're going to love this or hate it, but now you can get a pizza from Papa John's Pizza that comes with Marmite stuffed crust. That's going to taste a lot different, to say the least. After the success of cheese and Marmite pizza scrolls, whatever they may be, the popular pizza chain has found a new way to incorporate everyone's favourite, or at least favourite, yeast extracts separate spread into its menu. Basically, the pizza will work like any other stuffed crust. The difference is that instead of the cheese, you get the same mozzarella cheese, but with the healthy dope of Marmite chucked in for good measure. So, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Nice.
Yeah, I just like my normal cheats, I suppose. But yeah. Apart from that,
I like Vegemite. So
yuck, I hate it. I'm not a fan of the Vegemite. Am I going to trigger you?
You know what? Me and you should do an actual video where you and I argue over Vegemite or Marmite. That would be a hilarious video.
I don't like either. And they're owned by Kraft. They're not even American owned, Australian owned anymore.
I know they're not. I know. There is a Aussie replacement that they brought out. I've tried it. It's good. It's not the same, but it's good.
TL Marmite is a yeast extract that is similar to Vegemite in Australia. It's like peanut butter, but it has like a chocolatey sort of like dark sort of color into it. But yeah. It was corn. Oh, corn syrup, is it? It was sort of corn extract, is it? Yeah. It's some sort of extract, yeah.
What, Vegemite? It's a yeast
Marmite.
extract. It's
Marmite.
made from the same yeast that's used to make beer.
Marmite.
Oh, Marmite, yeah, same thing. It's beer. It's beer yeast extract.
Oh, okay, cool. Alright, yeah, so it is a yeast extract. Cool. Alright, let's get through these comments and we'll sign off. But yeah, we've been going for like 2.5 hours today, so it's like insane. I appreciate everybody who has managed to stick around for literally 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 33 minutes. So let's quickly wrap this up, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, that's what I figured. Wrote and listened the other night. Okay, yeah, that's fine. New Zealand says 10 years for anyone who has the video, but why? Amy, because they don't want people to see what was written on there. There is something in that video they do not want people to see. And I think it's because they don't want anybody to feel sympathy for the government. I reckon that if you start researching some of these names and everything that come up, you are going to start raising awareness about the problems of Islamic attacks. And it's really inconvenient for the narrative if you start talking about Islamic attacks. They're no longer victims. But anyway, we just have to say thank you for all your work. I've listened soon as you go live. Thank you very much, TL, man. I enjoy it. And hopefully you enjoy our streams. I've seen tons of crime scenes. Okay. New Zealand, as far as the video, yeah, the big problem with the fairness there, murder is murder. True. At the end of the day, Amy, it doesn't matter if it's white, black, whatever. Terrorist is still a terrorist. I saw it day off. Yeah, I saw it when it was released too. I had people literally sending me the video like 3 times a day. Everybody wanted me to see it. Did you see the picture of the AK with the Arabic on it? The ISIS flag with the caption, "Revenge is coming." Yes, we talked about that. Was it yesterday or the day before? We also talked about earlier today, and I'll relink in case you weren't here. There is a tram shooting over in the Netherlands. Now, they're not sure if it is actually a terrorist attack or if it's someone, apparently it's a migrant who has been charged with rape. They are thinking it may be the rape victim that he shot. Or it could be a terrorist attack. Who knows in this day and age? Kind of sad in itself. But anyway. So yeah, could be the result of that. We don't know. No, I didn't see it. Maybe other stuff did come in. He actually went through 2 sites. There was actually 2 attacks. What the fuck is Marmite? Which to explain. I ate organic pizza Saturday night. Not so great, except the crust. It was organic pizza, so you know. It was a response to the attack. It was on corn. Wiped it off after 10 minutes. Cornbread crust. Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. She's talking about the bread was cornbread crust. That explains why TL. Yeah. Okay. Maybe an honor killing in the Netherlands. Maybe. Maybe. Look, who knows? Maybe she's the victim and he was the perpetrator of rape. Who knows? We don't know what's going on. But at the moment, they're not ruling out terrorism, and apparently there have been 3 arrested. So yeah. Let me just double quickly check to see if there's an update on the Netherlands. Latest. Now remember, people, terrorism is part of living in a big city.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering, why didn't the New Zealand Prime Minister say that, well, this is just part and parcel of living in a big city?
Because they wanted to push an agenda. So, 3rd person has been arrested by police in case of the Dutch mass shooting in Utrecht. Several journalists had had their cars smashed, equipment stolen while reporting in the quarter. So yeah, we're obviously going to try and split up this video and upload the segments, guys. So we will upload that separate video, so you can check it out after. But he is definitely not a native Dutch person. There's a photo of what he looked like there. So he's killed 3 and he's injured several others. But yeah, apart from that, is there anything you got to say or anything you've got to add? What's that?
No, I'm good.
No? Alright, guys. Apart from that, look, obviously everybody, thanks for tuning in for this really, really long stream. Amy, you've been here the whole time. You're a godsend. Apart from that, everybody else, obviously thank you for joining in. Everybody, thank you for turning up. And anybody that watches this later on repeat, obviously thank you very much. Apart from that, guys, obviously we'll be back. Yeah, smashing cameras, reporters, yeah. No doubt they don't want people reporting on this incident. But look, obviously at the end of the day, guys, we'll be back tomorrow. Obviously bright and early. I'm going to try and do it a little bit earlier. I did wait for a certain somebody to try and turn up today, and he was late.
I'm sorry.
That's all right,
although I've been here for at least half of the show, so that's all right, I suppose. 50% is not bad.
Yeah, 50% is better than none. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, guys, obviously we'll try and kick it off early or at a reasonable time tomorrow. And yeah, apart from that, guys, obviously hope you enjoyed. Hope you had a great time. No worries, Amy. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. And thank you, TL, and everybody else who's also watching as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. I'm going to go to bed. And enjoy. Have a great night, everybody. Say bye. No.
Good night.